I'm literally never gonna escape these Sims 4 hater allegations. Not even allegations, to be honest. I straight up just don't like the game. Anyway, hi love, it's Nevo, and in my last video, no, in the video before that, I had briefly talked about how much I don't like The Sims 4, and I got some hate comments on it. So to, add fuel to those flames, I decided to make a video, a tier list video about all the Sims 4 controversies. Now, this isn't my idea. This was a video idea by Night O on YouTube, who I'll link down below. I thought it was such a funny idea that I'd do it as well. Here are the tiers. My top tier is indefensible. This is an action that no matter how much you stand or love The Sims 4, nothing can defend this. This is like EA at its greediest and most evil. The tier below that is cruel and unusual punishments. Now this is something you could defend, but you'd be strange if you did, and it's something that if you were to play with this in your game, would just be cruel and unusual punishment. Like, why would you want to play a game if it has these controversies attached to it? The tier below that is Donatella Versace. Context for this is, I think it was Bella Hadid. She'd posted a Instagram post on February 14th, Valentine's Day, and it said, "Will you free my Palestine?" And then Donatella Versace just commented her name with a purple heart. Low key, no, high key, insane, because why would you do that? But also so iconic, because this isn't like a random person. This is the Donatella Versace commenting this on your, like, it's confusing, it's iconic, it's kind of a moment. Donatella Versace. The tier below that is Onika Burgers. You have to be in the 7th circle of hell to really understand what Onika Burgers is. To clarify and to give some context, Onika Burgers is, I think Pop Crave posted an image of Northwest, who had drawn a picture of her grandmom, what's her name, Kris Jenner. She'd drawn Kris Jenner, and then Nikki Stan account had replied being like, why she ate, like, or why did she do so well, like why she ate. And then I think it was a Luna fan account, I can't remember, it was a K-pop fan, but they didn't like Nicki Minaj, so they replied to that, Bob, she equals Onika, 8 equals burgers. What? Completely nonsensical, insane, and you need a lot of context to be able to understand how like crazy and unhinged Onika Burgers is. Like, incomprehensible. And the very, very last tier is, your F tier. It's just crickets. No one talks about this. No one cares about this. As soon as it happened, everyone kind of forgot. So yeah, those are my tiers. The first one is the 20th anniversary. You'd think for such an important occasion, they would really go above and beyond and, release a new game. A lot of people were expecting them to release The Sims 5 on the 20th anniversary. They were expecting a new expansion pack, a new stuff pack, a new something. All Sims 4 players got was a hot tub. I don't think this is like indefensible, because no, and I don't think it's cruel and unusual punishment. I don't think it's Donatella Versace. It's not that iconic. I think it's only something that the Sims community talks about. So this is going into the Onika Burgers tier list. A, breaking their own game. With the 4 Rent expansion pack, they released a update, for the new expansion pack, and it genuinely, like, games would corrupt. If you had more than like 6 rental lots or rental properties on a lot, then the game would just straight up like corrupt and it just wouldn't work. That is like evil. Why did they let that happen? That's something you can't actually defend. I think this goes in the indefensible tier. You can't defend that. Did you not test the game? That's crazy to me. Of course, it makes sense if you put a bad mod in your game and your game breaks. That's kind of like your fault. You expect when you update the game for it to be updated and for it to work. That's like bare minimum that you expect. And EA straight up just didn't do that. That to me is completely indefensible. There's nothing you can say to make that alright or okay in any galaxy. The next is the gallery update. Apparently they fixed the filters, like they're not safe for work filters and stuff, because there was a lot of crazy stuff that was on the gallery. This is what I heard. I don't really use the gallery. I don't know. I don't play The Sims 4. People were saying how ethnic names were being flagged a lot more than white names, and that was an issue, but you don't hear this being spoke about at all. So I'm going to put this in the crickets tier. Infants. Now this one, people had asked for a baby update since forever. In The Sims 4, babies are just objects, so people were asking EA to update them forever. So instead of updating them, they added a new life stage, and this was the talk of the town. Everyone was talking about infants, but infants are just like scaled down toddlers, so I don't even know what the hype was when they even like they released half of the Infants update in like the free update and then the other half in the Growing Together expansion pack. I don't think it's evil because Infants do work. I'm gonna put it in the Donatella Versace tier. Infants do work, which is surprising. They are annoying, but they do work and they have a lot of like interesting new gameplay to them. But it's also like they could have just improved babies, but they like chose not to do that. I don't know. EA is strange. Kits. Yes, I remember when kits came out and people were really upset thinking that kits were going to replace stuff packs or EA won't release as many packs as they used to and the same timeline that they usually do, and so people were just very upset at the like existence of kits. I think it's just a genuine cash grab. It's like the Sims 3 store but like worse, because at least the Sims 3 store didn't feel like just regular DLC. It was something you had to go out of your way to buy, and they wouldn't wave it in front of your face that you haven't bought everything. So that's something EA likes to do. When you're in the game launches, they'll have the little expansion pack icons and it'll be like grayed out if you don't have that expansion pack. It feels a lot nicer if you like save up a lot and like buy all the expansions. It feels like a bit of an achievement, and EA plays into that. So instead of having like a Sims 4 store like they did in the Sims 3, they had kits instead, which is literally just assets they had from other packs that they just didn't include in those packs, and they're just repackaging it into kits. It's very weird. I'd say kits is Onika Burgers. Only Simmers really care about kits, and only Simmers were really pissed off about kits. More traits bad. The reason on launch The Sims 4 had 3 traits was because it was some absolute bullshit. They were saying how if there are more traits then the game won't run as well or the game won't be as good. They're running around in circles trying to justify why adult Sims had 3 traits. And then in the Growing Together patch, they added a gameplay feature that could make your sim like gain a new trait through gameplay, which sounds great until you realize that no, the sim guru said we can't have more than 3 traits for XYZ reason. So it just made the argument completely fall apart. Why would you say that when you know damn well that you could do it? The game can function perfectly. Like the game is completely fine with 5 traits. They were just lying, like straight up lying to your face. That's insane. I'm gonna put this in Donatella Versace. My first pet stuff, indefensible. I'm sorry. Do I need to explain why my first pet stuff is evil? First of all, it's DLC for a DLC. You needed cats and dogs to get my first pet stuff to properly function. They had pet bowls that you couldn't utilize unless you had pets or cats and dogs. Like you straight up like couldn't use most of the items if you didn't have an expansion pack. How evil is that? What? No, I'm even trying to wrap my head around it. I don't think any other game has ever done anything like that. EA was like in another level of just pure corporate greed to like make my first pet stuff. Why the hell would they do that? No, this is genuinely like pissing me off. Why would they do that? But I know why. They wanted money, but wicked. It's so strange. No lots. I got The Sims 4 pretty much as soon as it came out. I think I was in year 6, year 7. I was really looking forward to The Sims 4 because I'd played The Sims 3 for literal years. I loved The Sims 3 so much, and when I heard The Sims 4 was coming out, I was very, very excited. Comes out and I load into the world, and the lack of lots. I remember opening the game and thinking, is that it? Because The Sims 3 was so large. The Sims 3 was so big and expansive and so grand. What is going on? I thought it was like a prank. So I'm putting no lots in. Cruel and unusual punishments. No open world. Now I say this as someone who plays The Sims 2. I don't mind that it doesn't have an open world. Like I'm okay with that. Open world games can be really resource intensive, so I don't mind as much. But from The Sims 3 to go to The Sims 4 and not have an open world, it really did feel like a step in the wrong direction for a lot of people, which is fair enough. I don't feel passionately about open world, but I still think it's not a good thing that they did this, so it's also gonna go in cruel and unusual punishments. No more paywalling. Oh my god, I remember when this happened. This was crazy. This was like the first time EA like actually put their foot down and set some boundaries within the simming community, because EA like tech doesn't really like step in and say anything about the simming community. The Sims really want you to create mods and keep it alive in that kind of way, and it works because the Sims 2 community, the Sims 2 is almost as old as I am, and people still play that game a lot because of the way the modders are. So when they said no more paywalling, a lot of people got their knickers in a twist. I think perma paywallers are just, you're a bit sad. It was a big thing. I wouldn't say it's indefensible. I'm gonna put it in Donatella Versace. Play tested, never heard of it. I don't go here, so I don't really know what this could be referring to. I guess they don't have play testers, which is like obvious if you've played The Sims 4 for like longer than 5 seconds. You can tell that people weren't testing the games. So, but at the same time, I don't hear people talking about this often, so I'm gonna put this in crickets. No pools. Oh yeah, the game when it came out, straight up unfinished. Literally unfinished. No pools. I'm gonna whack this in cruel and unusual punishment because they patched this up relatively quickly. I think within a couple months after The Sims 4 had come out, maybe within the year, they had patched this up. No toddlers though. Indefensible. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Indefensible. There's nothing you can say to justify why it took them 6 years to release toddlers. A whole life stage. Infants is another thing. And we've never had infants in any other game, so that makes sense. Toddlers were in the game from as early as The Sims 2. Like, that was the first time toddlers had like really been a mainstay in the franchise, and they were really instrumental to making it seem as though like, or making it feel as though your Sims are really progressing in life, because you're literally teaching a small baby, a small child, how to talk, how to walk, how to use a toilet. Like, you're teaching a child how to be a person, and that is a big aspect of life. That's family gameplay that everyone enjoys playing. Like, I think a big majority of the Sims community are family gameplay people. Like, they enjoy family gameplay, so not having a life stage that is centered around family gameplay is just insane to me. Like, why wouldn't they do that? I mean, I know why, because the game was rushed, but that's crazy. That's actually insane if we really think about it. Indefensible. You can't defend that as much as you can try to. You straight up can't. Pack refreshes. The implication of this is really funny to me, because it's EA admitting straight up, yeah, this pack that we like released is just bad, so we need to go over it again. Imagine lack of shame, like you straight up just admitting to the consumer that this pack that we made right here right now was like really bad. As an apology, we're gonna fix it up for you, and to make it seem like they were doing us a favor. No, it should have been like this when it released. I'm very tempted to put it in cruel and unusual punishment. I'm really tempted. I mean, it's my tier list. I can do what I want. Yeah, that to me, the message it gives out to the consumer that like, yeah, we released bad packs. And it's crazy because they only did a pack refresh for Spa Day. I don't think they did a refresh for any other pack. They were like, okay, only Spa Day. Spa Day was the only miss. So My Wedding Stories wasn't a miss. Journey of Batu wasn't a miss. My First Pet Stuff wasn't a miss. Dine Out, you know, as great as Dine Out is as a concept, that doesn't function. That wasn't a miss, apparently. It was just Spa Day. It was just Spa Day that was bad. Everything else is okay. Spa Day was like so bad they needed to refresh it. I don't know. The message that sends out to be cool and unusual. Patreon doxing. Yeah, this is crazy. I don't think I really kept up with this situation as much as I could have. All I know is that for some reason people who had Patreons for custom content were doxing people. I don't have a Scooby-Doo as to why. Like, why were they doing that? Did we ever find out like a reason? Not that you need a reason to dox, but I feel like there needs to be a method and a motive to the madness. There needs to be a method and a motive to the madness, and I straight up like didn't see a method, a motive, or a reason as to why they were doxing people. So I'm gonna put this in Donatella Versace. This was pretty big, but I don't think it's cruel and unusual. Project Olympus. This really contextualizes a lot of the big failings of The Sims 4. For those of you who don't know, The Sims 4 was initially supposed to be a online MMORPG type of game, so it wasn't going to be anything like the other 3 Sims games. Because of the failure of SimCity, where they tried to make it an online only game, it got so bad people not only stopped buying SimCity, but everyone moved to City Skylines. Like, it effectively killed SimCity, and so EA after that no longer wanted to make an online only game, because their big online only game, SimCity, one of their biggest franchises, had completely crumbled and died. So they had to scramble and rush together to make The Sims 4, which is why on release it was so unfinished, because it was a completely different game, probably like a couple months before the release. Just with that backstory, I wouldn't say it's indefensible. It's cruel and it's unusual. So that they learned from their mistakes, but they could have pushed back the release date of The Sims 4 and really worked on the game. They like actively chose not to do that and to release the game anyway, completely like unfinished. Shopping cart icon, indefensible. They added a shopping cart into the actual game. This sounds like a joke. Okay, actually, when I was on Reddit, I was scrolling through Reddit and I kept seeing, oh, haha, shopping cart icon, seeing it again and again and again. What the hell? I don't think I've seen anyone defend this because you can't. It's indefensible. It's literally indefensible. They added a shopping cart right next to the gallery, which is something that if you play The Sims 4 often, you will find yourself going into a lot. And it's right next to the map, which obviously you want to go into the map to go to other lots and other places in the game. Like, it's instrumental to playing the game. Your sim is going to leave the house eventually, so eventually you will have to go up there, press on the map. Initially, that the shopping icon actually pulsated and like glowed, but I think a lot of people were complaining about how they had epilepsy and it could trigger seizures, so they removed that, which is great. But they should have removed the whole cart altogether. It shouldn't be there. They shouldn't have added a car. This is indefensible. You can't defend this. Skin tones. Cruel and unusual punishment. I feel like a lot of people could still defend the skin tones thing. I can't. Okay, on release, on launch, The Sims 4 had like 20 skin tones and over half of them were like light skin tones, which is bad. The dark and deep skin tones that we did have were like really ashy, really like, so CC creators had like come in and edited the skins. And like, I vividly remember when I was playing The Sims 4 during this time, X Mirror Mirror released the melanin pack, which I straight up like couldn't play without. If I wanted to even create myself in the game, I had to use custom content. And so after the George Floyd thing, I think it was Plumbella had said that it was disgusting that we couldn't make black people properly in The Sims 4, which I need to say, sorry to get so serious in like a fun, light-hearted video. The fact that a real life black person needed to be killed for me to be able to create myself in a game that is a life simulator is genuinely disgusting. The fact that EA didn't want to add dark skin tones until a white person said it is disgusting. I don't know. In fact, no, I'm moving it up to indefensible. I'm actually getting like irate thinking about it. A human being had to die for EA to add dark skin tones. Do you know how crazy that is? Someone had to be killed, recorded, and it had to be everywhere for EA to be like, do you know what? Maybe black people deserve to make Sims. Are you serious? And it's crazy because from launch, black people, like we'd been saying this from launch that it wasn't good, that we didn't have enough skin tones to represent ourselves. We've been saying it since the game came out, and it was crickets. They didn't care. They actually did not care that we couldn't make ourselves in the game until a white person of influence had to say something. What the hell? No. That's insane to me, but to me it's indefensible, and it's my tier list, so I'm putting it in indefensible. Star Wars. This is so funny. I vividly remember taking the survey. So what happened was The Sims for the EA Sim team, whatever, they released a survey asking a variety of questions just to gauge what the community had wanted. And so they had like a bunch of questions. I think there was one question I specifically remember, and there was a long list of hack ideas that they had. I think one was like high school, like paranormal. I have no idea, but I vividly remember high school, and Star Wars was there. And I remember seeing Star Wars in the survey and just feeling like a shiver go down my spine, because I knew something evil was afoot. I knew something bad was going to happen, but I didn't know exactly what malicious thing that EA had intended. I see Star Wars, and then they release the result for the survey, and nobody wanted Star Wars. Guess what the very next fact they release is? Star Wars Journey to Batuu. What the hell? You can't make this up. It's like a comedy sketch, actually. It's actually kind of funny. It's kind of funny, but like no one's laughing. Cruel and unusual, Diva. Cruel and unusual. Because no one wanted this. Actually, cool and unusual. Tiny refreshers. I think the first one was the Goth family. A lot of people had complained that Bella Goth was whitewashed, which she was. Sandra Goth was whitewashed, which she was. And so they refreshed it. I don't really think people cared about that. Onika burgers. I mean, I didn't care about that, so Onika burgers. Wedding stories. Oh girl. How do I even begin to explain my wedding stories? It completely changes the way the base game weddings work, where the base game weddings barely functioned and adds so many more details that don't affect gameplay whatsoever. For some reason, they don't add much trait compatibility. So let's say my sim is like non-committal and like doesn't want to like settle down whatsoever. They wouldn't like be anxious or like want to leave the altar, because with my wedding story, you could no longer leave the altar. Like that was no longer a possibility for you to like just not get married. Like everyone was happy about getting married. Everyone was like overjoyed and over the moon, and they would have these interactions that would be like, oh, worry about the wedding, but they wouldn't actually worry about the wedding. It was something that you had to actually press on your sim and make them worry about the wedding. Added a bunch of shallow gameplay, straight up just broke weddings, and people had to like release mods to like disable my wedding stories from like working in their game until EA fixed it. Eventually EA did fix it, so there is that. Cruel and unusual punishment. Actually, I think pack refreshes should be moved down. There we go. And that's my tier list. I'm gonna leave a link down below of the tier list, and also a link to, I think, Naito. Yes, a link to Naito's video as well. But this has been so fun. I enjoy ranting about The Sims 4. I know it's so toxic, because I said to myself I wouldn't rant about The Sims 4, that I'm changed. I'm a changed person. I'm better now, but I'm not. I'm still an angry ball of seething hate with The Sims 4. I was like 12 years old and I was fuming. Like I was genuinely upset at the game for like being that bad. I thought, how can they release this? How could they trick me into buying this? I felt hoodwinked, so I had to like take this out on the world and create a rant video. But yeah, share your opinions to that person that left hate comments on my last 2 videos. I'm sure you have a lot of opinions to share, so share that. It drives up my engagement anyway. More comments is better for me in the long run, so you're actually just helping me. But yeah, that's it. Ta-ra for now.